the leader of Harlow Council. And before I go into my speech, I'd just like to thank Louise and her team for picking Harlow as the launch site of Levelling Up in Harlow. And I'd like to pick up on something she said. She said that Levelling Up is not the preserve of any one person or any one organisation, but it's incumbent upon us all to do our own bit. And it is in working in partnership, and we're very grateful. And I was very excited to meet both you and Kevin, the leader of County Council, the other day, to begin our partnership. And I hope my administration can work with your administration to do right by the people of Harlow. And I don't know if you know, but our motto at our town hall is "In Common Endeavour." And I think in common endeavour we can achieve many great things. Because Harlow is a great town, and the Conservative Party is proud of Harlow's past. We acclaim that scientific and technological innovations to which Harlow gave birth and which ushered in the modern industrial and scientific age. Examples as diverse as radar by Raytheon, the fibre optic by B&R, and the post-it note by the 3Ms are but to name a few. We can look back at the history of our town in confidence. There has not been a drain on the state, but instead contributed to the well-being of our nation and that of mankind the world over. Harlow is a place where the people punch above their weight, seeking to claim little credit for their achievements. Instead, they are content to work with quiet industry and sobriety. So it is here that we meet at a newly established seat of learning, in a town noted for its scientific progress, in a community noted for its compassion, in a country noted for its strength. And we do stand in need of all three, for we meet in a time of great challenge and change, in a decade of hope and fear, in an age of both knowledge and ignorance. The greater our knowledge increases, the greater our ignorance unfolds. Despite the striking fact that most of the scientists the world have ever known are alive and working today, despite the fact that this nation's own scientific manpower has delivered a vaccine at breakneck speed, where most vaccines suffer a fate worse than Devon Lock at the Grand National and fall at the final hurdle. Despite that, the vast stretches of the unknown and the unanswered and the unfinished far outstrip our collective comprehension. No one can fully grasp how far and how fast we have come, but condense, if you will, the 50,000 years of man's recorded history in a time span of but half a century. Stated in these terms, we know very little about the first 40 years, except at the end of them, advanced man had learned to use the skins of animals to cover them. Then about 10 years ago, under this standard, man emerged from his caves to construct other kinds of shelter. Only 5 years ago, man learned to write and use a cart with wheels. Christianity began less than 2 years ago. The printing press came this year, and then less than 2 months ago, during this whole 50-year span of human history, the steam engine provided a new source of power. Newton explored the meaning of gravity. Last month, lights and telephones and cars and airplanes became available. Only last week did we develop penicillin, television and nuclear power, and we landed on the moon only a few moments ago. This is a breathtaking pace, and such a pace cannot help but create new ills as it dispels old, new ignorance, new problems, new dangers. Surely the opening vistas this new knowledge provides promise high costs and hardships as well as high reward. Small wonder this dizzying pace of change, often labelled to be the cause of apathy and disenfranchisement of many in our society, leads to calls for some to slow down. They would have us rest a little while longer, to wait. Sadly, this has been the case for too long here in our town. Our great town is tired. Its estates are tired, its road weary, our town centre fatigued. Tragically, this town of ours was not built by those who waited and rested and wished to look behind them. It was done so by those that look forward. So we too must look forward. We must level up. We won the election in May last year because we pointed out these tragic shortcomings and the state of decline to the electorate. We believed we can inspire the renewal of our past faculties and ingenuity. We communicated that belief to the people. We talked of the need for renewal of our town, our states, our civic pride, the need to level up. The extent of our decline was denied by many, Many more said the cost to level up is too high, the task too great. But I say to those that would have us continue on a downward slide to ruin, you are wrong. Those who came before us made certain that this town rode the first waves of the new town revolutions, embracing new thinking around home construction, social spacing and progressive living. We too must create a new wave, a wave of rebirth and regeneration of our town, to level up. And we here mean to lead it. For the eyes of our townspeople look to us to achieve this high purpose. But that does not mean that the remedy lies only in the economics, in the money. The economics will come right if the spirit and determination is there. The mission of my administration is much more than the promotion of economic regeneration. It is to renew the spirit of solidarity of our town, to ensure that the ambitions of the levelling up agenda lead to action. We need to aspire a new civic mood, as much as to replace bricks and mortar. Nothing is beyond us. Decline is not inevitable, but nor is progress a law of nature. The ground gained by one generation must not be lost by the next. At the heart of a new mood in our town must be a recovery of our self-confidence and our self-respect. The roadmap to this new mood is to level up. So we must level up, providing a boost to jobs, skills, innovation, education and housing. We are already witnessing signs of this recovery. We are taking back control of our town centre with the first ever planning framework in Harlow's history. We've had investment from the County Council in our town's libraries and the delivery of a fantastic new literacy programme, both for young and old, to support the most vulnerable in our society. And we've heard much more today of the wonderful investments that the County Council are making in our town, and we are much grateful for that. We've received well over £250 million of support from central government to protect our people from the worst of the economic fallout from the pandemic and to build back better. And key in part to receiving that funding has been our fantastic Member of Parliament, Robert Halfon. We will soon be announcing an ambitious new council home building programme worth more than £26 million of investment. We have just announced this week a £122 million 5-year investment programme to improve existing council homes and flats, £63 million 5-year programme to improve council-owned facilities across our town, £6.4 million programme to enhance the town's landscaping and the environment, more funding for our popular community services including Harlow Playhouse, Pets Corner and the Harlow Museum, a new estates renewal fund to restore pride in our estates and neighbourhoods, a newly combined planning and regeneration department to provide a focus on delivering town centre and wider regeneration. Levelling up can be best achieved, we believe, through regeneration, and that is what we are delivering. Earlier in the year at a civic service, I drew upon and adapted quotes from John F. Kennedy, much as I've done today. I take this opportunity to share with you now what I said then. We choose to regenerate our town, and we choose to regenerate our town in this decade and do the other things, not because they are easy, but because they are hard. Because that goal will serve to organise and measure the best of our energies and skills. Because the challenge is one that we are willing to accept and one we are unwilling to postpone. And so it's for these reasons that I regard the decision of my administration to shift our efforts in regenerating our town from low to high gear as among the most important decisions that will be made during my time in office. Regeneration will be the main catalyst to levelling up in Harlow and providing that opportunity for each and every one of the people of our town to play their part in that levelling up agenda. Our agenda for renewal, regeneration, levelling up requires strength. We need to be strong enough to protect our people from the wreckers and doomsters and those who are satisfied to perpetuate the status quo. Weakness leads to ruin. We must be strong enough to insist that the institutions of our town are refurbished so that we can pass to those who come after us the treasures which we have inherited from those that have gone before. Here we know that the restoration of the confidence of our great town is a massive task. We do not shrink from it. It will not be given to this generation of our townspeople to create a great town. It is already great, as has already been said. But it is given to us to demand an end to the decline and make a stand against what Churchill once described as the long, dismal, drawling tides of drift and surrender, of wrong measurements and feeble impulses. That is what levelling up means, and levelling up is what we should do. Our recovery will give all the people of our town a new hope and a new optimism. It will not only be the Conservatives, but also the people of Harlow who will then be able to say with Tennyson, "We sailed wherever ship could sail. We founded many a mighty state. Pray God our greatness may not fail through craven fears of being great."